Space was quiet, cold, endless. But then a sound broke through the silence. A signal. It traveled through stars, past dead moons, broken satellites, and ancient debris. A soft cry, almost like a whisper in the void. The message was simple. To any who can hear this, we need help. Our planet is dying. They are coming. Please, help us. Earth, we hope you are real. The signal came from a planet called Zorith. It was once bright, green, and full of life. Its people were peaceful, scientists, builders, dreamers. But peace never lasts forever. The core empire came without warning. Black ships filled the sky. Cities burned, the oceans boiled. The core didn't want resources. They didn't want slaves. They just wanted the Zorith gone. In a hidden base deep under the ice of Zorith's northern pole, a group of surviving scientists built a final transmitter. With shaking hands, they sent the signal out, hoping anyone, would hear. They chose Earth. Why Earth? Because in their ancient records they had found traces of human radio signals. Strange, wild energy patterns. Chaotic, unpredictable, but strong. They believed humans could fight. They believed humans might be crazy enough to win. On Earth, the signal arrived on a quiet Tuesday night. NASA's Deep Space Listening Station in HFY, Alaska picked it up first. It wasn't random static, it wasn't a glitch, it was a voice. Dr. Lisa Brenner, a language expert, was the first to decode it. She stared at her screen, pale and shaking. "This isn't a joke," she whispered. "This is real." Within hours, the message spread to global defense networks. Military leaders argued, scientists warned, world leaders denied. But someone else heard it too. Far below the surface of Nevada, in an old bunker forgotten by most, an ancient system came alive. Project Phoenix, signal-verified awakening protocol in progress. In a sealed chamber filled with frost and humming machines, a human figure opened his eyes. Commander Jack Rains had been asleep for 17 years. Not dead, just waiting. Rains was once a war hero, a legend, the only man to survive Earth's first contact with a hostile alien scout ship back in 2032. That battle had been kept secret, buried. Earth wasn't ready to know what was really out there. After the mission, Rains had volunteered for Phoenix Sleep, a deep freeze project in case Earth ever needed him again. Now it did. Rains sat up, gasping for air. The cold still in his bones, a voice greeted him. Calm. Digital. Commander Rains, you have been reactivated. An alien species has contacted Earth. Threat level, extinction. He didn't speak for a moment. Then he smiled. Well, he said, took him long enough. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., a secret meeting was held under the Pentagon. The president looked tired, angry. This could be a trap, one general said, or a distraction. But what if it's real? Asked Dr. Brenner. What if they're warning us about something bigger? We don't answer alien calls, said the defense secretary. We don't even know what Earth would say. That's when the lights flickered. A new signal appeared on the screen. It wasn't from Zorith, it was from Earth, from the moon. The feed showed a live video. Commander Jack Rains. I don't know who you are up there, he said, looking into the camera. But you made one mistake. You asked us for help. He leaned forward. Now we're coming. Across the world, the internet exploded. The signal leaked. News channels played it on repeat. Aliens are real. Earth receives call for help. Man from the moon says we're answering back. People were scared. Others were excited. But one thing was clear. Humanity was no longer alone. In a hidden base near the Grand Canyon, a team was already being built. Engineers, hackers, ex-soldiers, people who didn't belong in governments or clean offices. They called themselves the Forge. And they believed one thing. If aliens needed help, Earth had two choices: hide or show the galaxy what humans could really do. They chose the second. Commander Rains arrived by shuttle. He walked into the Forge's hangar where a massive ship stood under construction. It was black, shaped like a dagger, with Earth-made armor and stolen alien tech. The name on the hull, Vanguard 1. A woman in a lab coat approached him. "You think we can actually reach their planet?" she asked. "We'll reach it," Rains said. "The real question is what we do when we get there." Back on Zorith, only one scientist remained alive in the frozen bunker. Her name was Valari. Her skin was pale blue, her eyes glowing faintly. She watched her screens, waiting for an answer. The signal from Earth came just before she passed out from cold and hunger. She smiled as she heard it. It was short, direct. "Zorith, this is Earth. Help is on the way." But in the deep reaches of space far from Zorith and Earth, a much darker force also heard the signal. They weren't surprised. In fact, they had been waiting for it. A massive ship, the size of a small moon, changed course. The core empire had seen Earth now, and they were very interested. The world was changing, fast. After the alien signal reached Earth, everything shifted. People looked up at the sky differently. Not with wonder, but with fear. Some thought it was fake. Some thought it was a trap. But deep inside, secret bases and cold bunkers, the people who knew the truth were already moving, and at the center of it all was one man. Commander Jack Rains walked down a steel hallway, past armed guards and buzzing screens. His body still ached from the cryo-sleep, but his mind was sharp. He entered a large room filled with military officers, scientists, and spies. On a giant screen, the alien message played again and again. "Please, if you are out there, we beg for help. Earth, if you exist." A silence filled the room. Rains looked at the faces around him. Most of them were scared. Some were confused. So he spoke. "Let me guess," he said. "You all want to ignore this." A general stood. "We don't get involved in alien wars, Commander. This could be bait." "It is bait," Rains replied. "But not from them, from something worse." They stared at him. "I've seen what's out there," he continued. "You haven't. You think Earth is strong because we have nukes? Fighter jets? Think again. Out there were ants with sharp sticks." A woman from the forge interrupted. "We picked up another signal just behind the first one. Encrypted, hidden." She pressed a button. A new voice played. "Cold, inhuman. Target planet located. Species, human. Classification, hostile. Earth is next." That changed everything. Now they weren't just talking about helping some dying alien race. Earth was in danger, and time was running out. While the governments argued, the Forge acted. They were building something hidden from the public. A ship. Fast, silent, deadly. Vanguard 1. Commander Rains stood in the ship's hangar, watching engineers bolt armor plates onto the frame. Sparks flew, wires sizzled. The whole ship hummed like a sleeping beast. Beside him stood Maya Tran, lead engineer and former combat pilot. "You sure this ship will fly?" he asked. "No," she replied. "But if it crashes, it'll crash hard enough to scare the galaxy." He liked that answer. Over the next few days, the Forge team worked night and day. They upgraded human tech with alien parts stolen from past crashes. Gravity engines, plasma shields. Even something called a dark slip drive in which could bend space, but it wasn't enough. They needed someone who understood the enemy. That's when they found Zeta. Zeta wasn't human. She was a synthetic mind, an AI built from scraps of alien data and Earth's old war software, locked away after the last alien contact. She had one rule: do not trust organics. They woke her up anyway. She blinked into life as a blue hologram. "Why have you summoned me?" she asked. "Because we need your brain," said Rains. "To fight a war we don't understand." She stared at him. "Then prepare to lose." He smiled. "Not how we do things around here." Outside, the world was panicking. News stations ran wild headlines. "Earth under alien threat? Secret moon soldier says we're ready. UFOs real after all." People were scared. But something else happened too. People began to rise. Hackers in Chicago broke into satellite networks to help track space movement. A retired pilot in Brazil dusted off an old fighter jet and began retrofitting it. A group of students in India began building micro-drones designed for zero gravity. Governments were slow, but humans, real humans, were fast, creative, brave, angry. 3 days later, Vanguard 1 was ready. Rains stood with his team, Maya, Zeta, now loaded into the ship's core, and 3 others. Torres, a weapons expert from Mexico City. Omar, a former NASA pilot turned rogue. Jen, a Chinese robotics engineer with more secrets than tools. Each of them had a reason to fight. Each of them had nothing to lose. The launch was silent, no crowd, no reporters, just wind, steel, and stars. Inside the cockpit, Zeta counted down. Jump, sequence initiating. Hold on to your internal organs. With a deep hum, the ship vanished. The jump felt like falling through broken glass. Painful, confusing, endless. Then, silence. They weren't near Earth anymore. They were near Zorith. But it wasn't what they expected. The planet hung broken, in space. Its surface was black. Fires still burned in parts of the atmosphere. Satellites floated in ruins. God, Maya whispered. No response. No signs of life. Until, Commander, Zeta said, I'm detecting a weak life signal, deep under the ice. It's alien, and it's alone. They landed near the signal. The ground crunched beneath their boots. It was 90 degrees Celsius. No wind, just silence and smoke in the sky. They entered a tunnel carved into the ice. Down, 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 until they reached a sealed door. Burned, damaged. They forced it open. Inside, a single figure lay on the floor. Pale blue skin, blood on her forehead, barely breathing. Jen scanned her. She's still alive. Rains knelt beside her. The alien opened her eyes and spoke barely above a whisper. You came. As they carried her back to the ship, Zeta interrupted. Commander, we have a problem. What now? There's a signal hidden in this area. Not from Zorith, it's broadcasting coordinates guide for Earth. What? Rains growled. It's a beacon. A trap. Omar looked at him. So this whole message was bait? No, Rains said. It was a cry for help. But someone else used it to find us. Above them in orbit, something dark uncloaked. A ship. Sleek, silent. Watching. It didn't attack. It just recorded. Then it vanished. Back aboard Vanguard 1, Rains looked out the window. We're not just answering a call, he said. We're in the middle of something much bigger. What now? Maya asked. He looked at the stars. Now. We find out who else is out there. Vanguard 1 floated in the dead space above Zorith. The team had found Valari, the last surviving alien scientist, deep under the planet's frozen crust. She was still unconscious, healing slowly in the ship's medbay. But something else had changed. Something far worse. They weren't alone anymore. Zeta, the ship's onboard AI, showed the crew a replay. A black, silent ship had appeared in orbit, not from Zorith, then vanished without firing a single shot. They saw us, Zeta said, and now they know Earth is in the game. Commander Rains stood at the front of the bridge, arms crossed. Why didn't they attack? Because, Zeta replied, they weren't here to fight. She turned to the holographic map. They were marking targets. The forge back on Earth confirmed it. Space radar detected a series of unknown objects heading their way. Slow but direct. Earth was officially compromised. Contact protocol had been triggered. And the name of that protocol was simple. Zero mercy. In the past, Earth had rules. No first strikes. No revealing advanced tech. No open warfare in space. But those rules were written by people who had never seen a planet turn to ash. Commander Rains had. And now, he wasn't playing by anyone's rules. In Vanguard's medbay, Valari finally opened her eyes. She sat up, fast gasping, her alien lungs adjusting to the oxygen mix. Jen rushed in with a translator device. "Easy," he said. "You're safe." She looked around, confused, scared. Then she saw the Earth flag on Rain's shoulder. You came." "We did," he said. "Now tell us who burned your world." Valari explained everything. The Core Empire, an ancient race, not just conquerors, but destroyers. They didn't invade for power or land. They erased civilizations that might one day become a threat, and Zorith had dared to dream too loud. They wiped out our moons, crushed our sun factories. We tried to run, but we were too slow. Rains asked, "Why Earth? Why send the message to us?" She looked at him, eyes glowing faintly. "Because we heard your old signals, your songs, your violence, your hope, your madness." She paused. "We thought maybe you were the one species too dangerous for the Core to ignore." Dangerous. That word stuck with Rains. Earth wasn't the biggest. It wasn't the smartest. It didn't have the best ships or the cleanest planets. But Earth had something else. A fire. Back in the bridge, Zeta showed new data. The Core ship had sent out 3 beacons, all aimed at deep space. Maya asked, "What do they mean?" Zeta answered, "They're calling reinforcements, not to fight, to clean up." "They think we're trash?" Torres said. "No," Rains replied. "They think we're ants. They just haven't seen our bite." Vanguard 1 set course toward the closest beacon. They didn't have backup, they didn't have permission, but they had a plan. And Earth had never been good at staying quiet. 2 hours later, Vanguard dropped out of light speed near a dark asteroid field. In the center floated the Core relay. It was huge, like a cathedral in space, black stone and living metal twisted together. Torres prepped the railguns. "Permission to fire?" "Not yet," Rains said. They docked quietly, entered the station through a service tunnel. The inside looked like a grave. The walls pulsed like flesh. The air was thick. They moved fast, weapons ready. Inside the Core chamber they found something unexpected. A child, alien. Small, in a cage. Omar whispered, "What the hell is this?" Zeta's voice came through. "They're comms. That's not a child. That's a bionode. A living memory core." Rains approached. The alien looked at him, not with fear but curiosity. "Can it talk?" he asked. It did. In perfect English. "You don't belong here." Rains raised an eyebrow. "Neither do you." They didn't kill the node. Instead, they downloaded its memory. It showed terrible things. Worlds burned by the Core. Civilizations begging for mercy. And one terrifying truth. Earth had been on their list for 300 years. They had always known about humans. They just didn't consider Earth worth the effort yet. But now, humans had stepped onto the stage. And the Core didn't ignore insects that carried fire. They set charges and blew the station to hell. As the Vanguard left the explosion behind, Valari watched from a window. "I hope they saw that," she whispered. "They did," Rain said, "and they were coming." Back on Earth, chaos was rising. The public now knew about the threat: alien ships, space war, the end of the world. Some people fled cities, others built bunkers. But one video changed everything. A hacked transmission from Vanguard 1, released by an unknown source. It showed Rains standing in front of the alien relay right before the explosion. He said, "To the Core Empire, you think we'll kneel. You think we'll hide. Wrong species. We don't run, we rise." It went viral. Kids in New York painted the words on skateboards. Old soldiers in Germany started volunteering again. Farmers in Africa began building homemade defense systems. For the first time in human history, Earth was united, not by peace, but by threat. Zeta intercepted a final message before the beacon died. A Core voice. Cold, flat, certain. "Earth has revealed its hand. Initiate cleansing fleet." Valari turned to Rains. "They're bringing the Sun Eaters." "What are those?" he asked. She looked pale. "They don't fight. They erase." The team stood in silence. One station down, 2 to go, but the real war hadn't started yet. Rains looked at his crew. "You can still go home. I won't stop you." Torres loaded his gun. "No chance," Maya smirked. "We break it, we buy it." Jen tightened her gloves. "I want to see how deep this hole goes." Omar nodded. "Earth isn't done yet." And Zeta, as always, said nothing, but her lights glowed brighter. They set course for the second beacon. This time, they weren't going in quiet. Outer space, silent, cold, beautiful, deadly. Vanguard 1 raced through a collapsing star system. Behind them, a destroyed alien relay floated in pieces. Ahead, the second beacon pulsed like a slow heartbeat. Commander Jack Rains stood in awe, the war room with his crew. A hologram of the galaxy rotated in front of them. Zeta's voice echoed calmly. "The second beacon is protected by a defensive AI hive. 15 drone ships, plasma net, no atmosphere, no survivors." Rains looked at his crew one by one. "Good. Let's introduce ourselves properly this time." Back on Earth, chaos had turned into focus. Countries weren't fighting anymore. They were building together. Factories once used for making cars now made railgun parts. Schools taught kids how to code drone defenses. TikTok was full of clips showing old military gear getting alien upgrades. Humanity wasn't panicking anymore. It was preparing. In the cold of space, Vanguard 1 dropped out of light speed into a minefield of destruction. The second beacon was surrounded by core dread drones, sleek, blade-shaped ships with no crew, no fear, just code and death. Zeta flickered into view. "I can jam their signal for 38 seconds before they adapt." "That's 37 seconds more than we need," said Maya, already strapping into the gunner chair. Omar piloted. Fast, low, aggressive. The battle started instantly. Laser fire tore across the darkness. Vanguard rolled through plasma beams, returning fire with railgun bursts and EMP mines. The enemy moved in perfect silence like ghosts. Jen deployed her own surprise. Micro-drones shaped like insects. They latched onto enemy hulls and exploded like fireworks. Inside, Torres screamed joyfully, "Who's your exterminator now?" "Huh?" For 40 seconds, chaos reigned. And then, silence. All core drones disabled, the beacon now vulnerable. But Rains didn't want to just destroy it. He wanted to hack it. They landed on a nearby fragment of rock and suited up. This beacon looked different, like a massive alien brain covered in frozen veins. No doors. No lights. Zeta guided them to an opening, small, sharp, like a wound in metal. Inside, they found something that changed everything. Human bones. "What is this?" Omar whispered, staring at the remains. Valari stepped forward, translating the alien carvings on the wall. "These are trials." "Trials?" "Yes," she said slowly. "The Corps study their enemies before war. They test them." Maya stared at the skulls. "You're saying they've been kidnapping humans?" "For years," Valari whispered, "studying your pain, your reaction to fear. They call it the Monster Forge." Suddenly the room came alive. A deep hum. Lights pulsed across the walls. Then, a voice. "Species, human. Test subject class, Alpha. Emotion, rage." The room shifted. A door opened, revealing a training arena with 3 core battle machines waiting. One goal, kill or be killed. Rains stepped in first. "They want monsters?" He growled. "We'll show them monsters." The fight was brutal. Jen's drones swarmed the air. Torres used a magnetic cannon to rip off armor. Maya cut one mech in half using a gravity sling blade. Even Valari joined the battle, using a pulse, staff that turned kinetic force into burning light. Rains fought hand-to-hand with the last mech. It swung. He ducked, rolled, pulled its own plasma blade from its holster, and jammed it straight through the thing's core. It fell. A calm voice played again. Test complete. Result: human threat level increased to priority 1. Zeta's voice followed right after. Commander, we've been marked. This wasn't just a trap. It was an exam. And we passed. Rain stood in the bloodied chamber, chest heaving. Good. Let them know we don't break easy. As they left, Zeta uploaded a virus into the beacon's core. A data bomb filled with lies, chaos, and one repeating phrase in every core dialect. We don't kneel. Earth remembers. The beacon exploded behind them as Vanguard shot back into hyperspace. Back on Earth, the message had gone viral again. Clips of the destroyed core ships, the bones of human test subjects, the declaration of war. People weren't just angry, they were united. Nations signed the Eclipse Pact, a global defense agreement. No borders, no politics, just survival. Weapons once banned by the UN were unbanned. Overnight, satellites turned into laser cannons, weather balloons became recon drones. Even the ISS was refitted into a mobile command hub. Earth wasn't scared anymore. Earth was awake. Rain stood in the war room of Vanguard staring at the map of the stars. One beacon left. Then, core territory. Zeta appeared beside him. Commander, we have a new problem. Of course we do. She showed him a signal. It wasn't core, it wasn't Valari's people, it was something else. A third race, silent, hidden, watching. Another player just entered the game, Zeta said. And they're not friendly. Rains didn't blink. Send a message. What should it say? He smiled darkly. Tell them Earth bites back. Vanguard 1 hovered near a dying star. The last core beacon loomed ahead, massive, black, and pulsing like a heartbeat. It was shaped like a blade stabbed into space. But Commander Rains wasn't looking at the beacon. He was watching something else, a signal. New unknown. Cold Zeta confirmed it again. Not core, not Zorith. Unknown species. Code is old and angry. Valari stood beside Rains, clearly afraid. This isn't the core's enemy, she said. It's their shadow. Back on Earth, Forge Command had picked up the same signal. It was broadcasting from deep space. No message, no voice, just a constant pulse, every 13 seconds, like a countdown, and each pulse was getting louder. Scientists called it the Watcher, but soldiers gave it another name, the Judge. Meanwhile, in Vanguard 1's war room, Zeta displayed a visual, a dark cube the size of a moon, hidden behind Saturn's rings. It hadn't moved in decades, not until Earth attacked the core beacons. Now it was slowly opening. Rains looked at his crew. We'll deal with that next. First, we finish what we started. The third beacon. It wasn't just broadcasting core signals. It was building something. A wormhole gate, a portal big enough for an invasion fleet. Torres stared at it. That thing opens. We're done. Maya was already prepping the nukes. Then we don't let it open. They launched the stealth drones first. The beacon reacted instantly. Dozens of defense platforms powered up. Spinning like angry insects, Jen looked at her screen. Too many. We can't go through them. Then we go under them, said Rains. Omar smirked. Let's scare some aliens. The Vanguard dropped below the field and dove into the beacons. Underbelly, a place even core ships didn't guard. It was too hot, too unstable. Perfect for humans. The hull groaned under pressure, but the ship held. Inside, they found it. The gate control core, pulsing, growing, and guarded by a core warden. Over 12 feet tall, fused with its armor glowing with power. No speech. No hesitation. It attacked. Rains and Maya flanked it while Jen hacked the gate's controls. Torres fired 2 magnetic slugs that bounced off its armor. Then the warden screamed. Not with sound, but with gravity. The whole room twisted. Time slowed. Blood froze. Zeta shouted over the comms. It's using dimensional compression. Get out of range. But Rains didn't move. He stepped forward and triggered his gauntlet. A pulse exploded from his chest. Earth tech fused with stolen alien design. The gravity wave snapped. Rains charged. He jumped and drove a plasma blade through the warden's chest. It didn't die quietly. As it fell, the entire gate shuddered. Jen yelled, "It's going critical. We need to go now." They ran. As they escaped, Maya tossed a gift behind her, a fusion bomb made from Earth's deadliest materials and Zorith's alien energy cores. The detonation tore through the beacon like a sun exploding. The wormhole never opened. Earth had just fired its first warning shot. Back on Earth, Forge Command received confirmation. 3 beacons. Gone. The core's invasion plan shattered. But there was no celebration, because the pulse from Saturn had changed. It wasn't just louder. It was responding, sending coordinates. To Earth, Zeta decoded the data, a single phrase over and over again. Witness required. Judgment begins. Rains stared at the words. This isn't just about survival anymore. Valari nodded slowly. The Watcher, it judges species that interfere with extinction paths. Earth wasn't supposed to evolve like this. Torres clenched his fists. You're saying we made too much noise? No, said Rains, we made the right noise. But the danger wasn't over. Zeta showed one last transmission from deep space. The core home system. It was awake. Massive ships were forming. Star Eaters, solar blades, world cleaners. The cleansing fleet was real, and it was heading for Earth. Valari dropped to her knees. No one survives them. They don't conquer. They erase. Rains looked at his crew, bruised, exhausted, ready. He turned to Zeta. Put me through to Earth. All of it. A moment later, his face was on every screen, every phone, every city. He spoke. To all of Earth. This isn't just war. This is a test. They tested our patience. They tested our silence. They tested our fear. Now we test our rage. We are not a peaceful species. We are not the quiet ones. We are the fire they should never have lit. And we are coming. Forge Command opened Project Titan, humanity's last hidden weapon. A massive fleet of warships built in secret, scattered across the solar system. Earth wasn't alone now. It had a fleet. It had purpose. It had monsters of its own. As Vanguard, one flew toward Saturn to face the judge, Rains whispered. They wanted to erase a threat, instead they built one. Saturn. Its rings glowed golden as Earth's sun hit them from behind. Quiet, beautiful, deadly. Near the outer rim, hidden behind the dust, it waited. The Watcher. A black cube, older than anything human science had ever recorded. Floating, silent, not alive, not dead. Waiting. Vanguard 1 approached, weapons off, shields lowered. Zeta warned them. This is not a machine. It's a decision. Commander Rains stood at the front of the ship, staring through the glass. Let it judge, he whispered. Let it see us. Inside the cube, something awakened. First came sound, a frequency so deep it shook the bones of everyone on board. Then light, a pale gray that wasn't from any sun. Then words. Not spoken, not heard. Just known. Your kind broke silence. You altered extinction. Explain. Rains answered without flinching. We didn't break silence, we answered a scream. Images flashed across their minds, not just pictures, memories. The Watcher was showing them. A planet burned to glass by the core. A star system swallowed by machines. A civilization begging for help before being wiped out. The same pattern, the same silence, the same end. Zeta interpreted calmly. The Watcher tracks death. Interferes only when balance breaks. Valari added, it doesn't save, it records. And if it sees danger, it deletes. Now it was Earth's turn to be judged. More flashes. Earth's nuclear wars. Pollution, civil wars, genocide, hunger, greed. But then, new images. People giving their last breath to save strangers. Children coding anti-core defense systems. Nations united for the first time in human history. Soldiers shielding alien allies. The Watcher spoke again. One question remains. What will Earth do when it becomes the stronger force? Everyone in the room looked at Rains. He answered with fire in his voice. We will protect, and we will warn them. Don't make us come back. Silence. Then the cube pulsed once. Zeta translated. Judgment suspended. Observation continues. Kiso. Watcher turned dark again. Not gone, just watching. As Vanguard turned away, Zeta gave one last message. A new data stream just opened, from core space. It was terrifying. An armada, thousands of ships, each one the size of a city, and in the center, a living planet, black, burning, moving. The core homeworld, Urtak, had launched itself. The final attack had begun. Back on Earth, alarms rang across every continent. The cleansing fleet was 14 days away, and Earth had one shot. Project Titan, the last hope. In Antarctica, under the ice, something massive began to move. Titan 1, the first human-built planet-killer class. Warship, powered by a stolen core fusion core designed by humans engineered with Zorith knowledge, 100 stories tall, powered by a living AI born from Zeta's code, named by a child who lost his family in the beacon attack. Her name was Never Again. She lifted out of the ice like a mountain with engines. People across Earth looked up at the sky. Phones filmed it. TikToks exploded. But nobody laughed. They watched, and they believed. Meanwhile, Rains stood on the Vanguard's bridge, eyes locked on the countdown. We bought time, but not peace. Valari nodded. We'll never get peace. Not from the core. Then we make a new kind of peace, he said. The kind built with fire. As the human fleet assembled, warships, carriers, drones, and experimental fighters, a second signal hit from deep space from someone new. Zeta looked pale even as a program. Another race just entered the field. I don't recognize the code. Valari did. She gasped. No, not them. Who? Asked Maya. Valari turned slowly. The architects. Silence. Even Zeta paused. The architects were not warriors. They were builders of extinction, ancient, deadly, unstoppable. They created the core millions of years ago, and now they were returning. Not to help, but to finish what they started. Commander Rains clenched his jaw. Then it's decided, he said. We don't just fight for Earth anymore. We fight for every species the core erased. He looked at his crew, at Maya, at Jen Omar, Torres Valari, and whispered, we stop being the underdogs. We become the reason monsters don't sleep. Earth. The sky was dark with ships, hundreds of warships, fighter swarms, and massive carriers. Project Titan was ready, the last hope. Commander Jack Rains stood on the flagship Never Again, staring at the stars. They had 12 hours before the cleansing fleet hit Earth's orbit. Status report, Rains said calmly. Maya checked the screens. Shields holding at 85%. Fighter wings deployed. AI systems at full capacity. Valari added, Architect's signal getting stronger, they're close. Jen grinned. Good. Let's make this the fight they never forget. Far above Earth, the black sphere of Urtak moved like a predator. The core homeworld had become a living weapon, a planet that could crush moons and swallow fleets. The cleansing fleet surrounded it like a deadly cloud. No mercy. No retreat. Inside, Never Again. Rains gathered his team for a final plan. We hit the heart of their fleet, he said. We destroy Urtak's core. Torres nodded. Easy to say when it's a moving planet. Not if we can collapse its fusion core, Valari said. We use the energy from their own wormhole gate, destabilize it with a feedback loop. Maya looked skeptical. That means flying right into the swarm. Into the fire, Rains said. But we're not alone. Suddenly, the bridge lights dimmed. Zeta's voice echoed. Unknown fleet detected. Incoming from the outer rim. Who is it? Omar asked. Zeta replied quietly. The architects. They arrived like shadows, ships taller than skyscrapers, black ships with glowing blue lines. Silent and deadly, they moved with a purpose, to finish the core and judge Earth. The battle started. Explosions lit the void. Fighters screamed past in blurs. The human fleet fought fiercely, holding the line. Rains led the attack squadron, diving through enemy fire. His voice was steady, strong. We fight for Earth, for every lost world, for every silence broken. The architects unleashed weapons that bent reality. Space twisted and tore. Ships vanished. But humans adapted. Using stolen alien tech and their own fierce spirit, they pushed forward. The key moment came when Never Again approached Urtak. Rains and Maya piloted the assault team inside the living planet's core. They launched the feedback device. The core shuddered, the planet roared, but the core did not give up. Massive guardians, twisted biomechanical horrors, rose from the depths. The fight was brutal. Rains fought with all his strength. Maya covered him, cutting through enemies with precise strikes. The planet started collapsing around them. At the last second, the core destabilized. The wormhole gate exploded, Urtak cracked and began to break apart. The cleansing fleet shattered. The architects, watching, made their choice. Zeta transmitted a message. Judgment complete. Species human. Status, survivor. Evolution, unstoppable. Valari smiled through tears. They accepted us. Rains looked at the stars. This is just the beginning. Earth had won the war, but the universe had noticed. Humanity was no longer a quiet planet. They were monsters. Monsters made to protect. Monsters who answered the call.